What's up, my honey bunnies, and welcome back to a new video. Hopefully you guys are having an incredible day so far today. And of course, it's gonna be a Makeup Monday video, so it's gonna be a makeup related type of video. If you missed last week's makeup video, it is gonna be on the cards. Again, I forget which corner it is, but you guys can find it there. It was a video comparison on all of the eyebrow gels that I do have. And today's video is going to be on concealers. So I have 7 concealers in my collection at the moment, and that's because concealer is one of my favorite products to try besides mascara and highlight. All of these are going to be vegan and cruelty free and on the cleaner side. Some of them are going to be more cleaner than others. I'm just going to start with my absolute favorite, which is the Cover FX Power Play concealers, and these came out after they came out with their Power Play foundation, which I did try a sample of it, and it just wasn't my favorite formula. I felt like it was just too matte and it was just not right for my skin type. And when they came out with these, I thought they were going to be the same formula, but I still wanted to give it a try. Thankfully, these do have a different formula compared to the foundation, the Power Play foundation. So I absolutely love these. I highly recommend them if you are looking for a nice like skin-like concealer that also provides a lot of coverage. I would consider this like medium to full coverage. It's very buildable. It's a concealer that I can use on minimal days, on minimal makeup days, or like full glam, and I love it. It's a great formula. Like I said, it has great coverage. It builds really nicely. It blends like a freaking dream. I love the packaging. The packaging comes like this. I do have a full video on these concealers, so if you guys want to check it out, I'll just link it up in the cards. I have 2 different shades of this concealer. This one is G Medium 1, and I was using this as a under eye concealer. That is what it looks like. I really like that it kind of has like a very subtle yellow undertone. And then the other color I have is G Medium 2. And this one is way more golden and a little bit darker. So that is the swatch of that. It has a really good coverage. I actually like these as concealers and foundations. I'm a big fan of using concealer as foundation. I'm actually wearing it today as a foundation and concealer. This one is not matte whatsoever. Maybe leaning towards like a dewy finish, but you can set it and, you know, get rid of that dewiness. It's very lightweight. You can't really feel it on the skin. Out of all of the concealers that I'm going to talk to you guys about today, this is the one that creases the least. This one lasts a long time, and it's just a really good formula. If you guys have not checked them out, I will be linking everything down below, of course. The shade range on the Cover FX Power Play concealers, I believe there's 40 plus shades, so it has a really great selection of beautiful shades from like really light to really dark. They also have a white concealer if you really want to mix. Let's move on to a concealer I have been using non-stop besides today, because today I did use the Cover FX. But besides today, for the past like month, this is the one that I've been using as a concealer and foundation. So I honestly do not like this as a concealer, but more as a foundation. I feel like as a concealer, it just creases way too much. Not only where I have that really deep set line, but like my fine lines as well. So I don't use this so much as a concealer. I mean, I do, but I do prefer it as a foundation or just to cover any blemishes. So right now, because it's summer, it's really hot. Of course, I'm not gonna wanna be wearing so much makeup. So I do like to use just a tinted BB cream and then go on and cover any redness or blemishes with a concealer. And that's actually what I've been using this one for. This one has a really, really long name, but it is from Pacifica, and it's called Liquid Cover Full Coverage Lasting Concealer. And okay, so this one, I don't think it's full coverage. I think it has great coverage, but I wouldn't consider it full coverage, you know, just one swipe. I do have to build it up. So here is a swatch of the color I have. Let me build it up a little bit. It's 14 Neutral Medium, and this is what it looks like right here. It blends really nice. I think it looks really nice on the skin as well. I just don't like that it creases a lot. Next up, I have another concealer from Cover FX. I absolutely love Cover FX. If you guys don't know this about me, it is one of my favorite brands to try products from. This is the first concealer that I've ever tried that was cleaner, that was vegan and cruelty free. Since then, I have tried others that I love most, but for the longest, this was my absolute favorite. Is the cream concealer from Cover FX, and I do have the color J Medium, and I'm gonna swatch it right here. This one comes in a little squeezy tube type of format. So that is what it looks like. Let me kind of blend it out a little bit. This concealer is so different from their Power Play concealer. This is way more creamier, and you only need a little bit to cover it. So a little bit goes a long way. And I think that's the big difference between both concealers. The consistency is also different. This is way more creamier than the Power Play concealer. And this one, you only need a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see by the swatch. I feel like it's way more concentrated than the other one. But this is a little more creamier, so it does show up. It's way more dewier, and it does crease on the skin as well. So I'm not a big fan of this anymore. I just switched to using this one because this one creases the least. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is my second one. I did finish one, and that one lasted me, I think, 2 years because, like I said, you only need a little bit to cover your whole under eye. I have not tried this as a foundation. That was my little mini review on the Cover FX Cream Concealer. Let's move on to 3 concealers that I will not be repurchasing. These are more on the natural side. These are more natural. This is not so natural, but it's a little more on the cleaner side. So let's start with these natural ones. I have the Clove and Hollow concealer in the shade 3, the Hon Cosmetics all natural concealer in the color medium. So this one came in my Petit Vour, and then this one I did buy at an event. And let's start with this one. This right here is a great concealer. It's loved by so many green beauty bloggers, and I see why. I see why it's loved so much, because it has really good coverage for it to be really nice and clean. But for me, let me give you the swatch right here. So that is the color number 3. I'm not a big fan of this, and let me tell you why. This one out of all of them has more like a pinky tone, and that's just not my undertone at all. And I did choose this in person. I didn't order this online. The shade didn't work for me. Also, I find that the formula for my under eyes, it just looks a little too dry under there. That's why I do prefer a concealer that's a little more on the dewy side, that's more hydrating and moisturizing. Even if I have to set it, I just prefer that type of formula because it doesn't make my under eyes look dry and just old. This one does. So I did find a way to use this so I can finish it up. Use it as an eyeshadow base. So whenever I'm gonna do like a cut crease, this is perfect because it doesn't crease that much. It kind of just sets and kind of dries down. I think it's perfect for me for that. So that is what I use it for. But other than that, the coverage is really good. I don't know if you guys can see it right here. It blends really nicely. It builds really nicely. I'm not gonna completely tell you that I don't recommend this because I think it's great if you love something more on the matte side and something that's gonna be not so dewy. I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from this formula. The Hon Cosmetics concealer, I have it in the color medium. Let me give you guys a swatch first. This concealer is way too runny, like super liquidy, but the color is perfect. It has a really nice undertone. It really is a great shade for my skin tone and my undertone. I just don't like that this is super liquidy, and even though it blends really nicely, it spreads really nicely, it has great coverage, the ingredients are amazing. Because it's so liquidy, it creases so fast. Like I can apply it and it's gonna crease right after I blend it, and even if I kind of like blend it out again, it's gonna crease again, and it just creases the most out of all the concealers I have. It also feels a little more like oily and thin. So although it does have pretty good coverage, it's not something that is full coverage. I would probably call this a light to medium coverage, and it's quite buildable, but it's very thin, it's very liquidy, it's kind of oily, it creases way too much under my eyes, and yeah, so it's not my favorite, but I know a lot of people that love this. So again, you just gotta take it with a grain of salt. And I guess if we have like the same skin tone or the same skin type, then you can obviously take my advice. But I would recommend this for someone who has really dry skin and doesn't really require a lot of coverage. I think it's going to be a great product, and especially if you're into like more natural products. Last but not least, from the three that didn't work out for me is from Nabla Cosmetics, and this is the Close Up Stay Full Smooth Concealer. Also very long with a lot of claims. Okay, so I did a video of this and I really do like this. It's a really good formula. It's a little more on the matte side as well, but it really smooths out the under eye really nicely. But I did also order this in the wrong shade. I do have cream beige. So that is the color. As you can see, it's really light. I definitely messed up in choosing this color, but it's kind of hard to choose online, and I thought based on the description of the color it would work for me, and it just didn't. This one does work for me a little more when I'm more pale during fall and winter. It's not super liquidy like the Hon Cosmetics, and it's not that creamy either. I think it's somewhere in between. It blends really nicely. Like I said, it just smooths out the under eye. I just feel like it's just not the formula for me. When I first got this and I first tried it, I really did enjoy it. I think the formula is great. What I did like about this concealer is that it has great coverage. A little bit goes a long way. It blends really nicely as well. The formula is a little more on the liquidy side, but it does make a whole bunch of mess. It has a really big hole, so a lot of product comes out. This is not a concealer that I would repurchase. I'm just trying to finish it up. And just like the Clove and Hollow concealer, I am using it as a eyeshadow base to do cut creases, and because I feel like it dries down just enough, makes it perfect for that. But as a concealer, I just don't like it anymore. Out of all of them, these two are the ones that have the most strongest scent. The Cover FX ones don't have a scent. The Pacifica one does have a slight scent, but it's very minimal. It's very light, kind of like a jasmine floral type of scent, but again, it's not offensive. It doesn't bother me, and it just dissipates throughout the day. This one smells like lavender, and this one smells like tropical coconut. Moving on to these little cuties right here. These are from Cover FX, and these are the Cover Clicks. These concealers also come in an array of colors, from skin tone colors to color correcting colors, and also shimmering like highlights that you can use on your cheekbones. I highly recommend these if you're looking for a solid, creamy type of product that you can use for foundation, you can use for concealer, you can use for cream contour, you can use as highlights, color correcting. Even though they do look very tiny, they do have a fair amount of product in here, and because they are pretty pigmented, I don't really need that much. This one is neutral 50. That is what it looks like. It's the darkest, actually, no, it's not the darkest. 60, neutral 60 is the darkest one I have. And this one I use as like a cream contour. Compared to the other concealers from Cover FX, I feel like these do run a little more on the warmer side. So I feel like that's why they work for me in the neutral territory. But usually I am more of a golden or warm tone. Because they are a cream concealer, they do have more of a dewy finish. So if you don't like that, then I would stay away from these. But if you do love a nice dewy look, a nice creamy product, this is definitely one I would recommend. The coverage is amazing. I think it has great coverage. It builds really nicely, and you can buy the Cover FX Click Stick, which looks like this. Remove the cap and then just pop it in here and click it in there. Once you click them both in there, they're not gonna fall anywhere, and this is perfect for travel. I do currently have 3 shades in this concealer, and that's because I absolutely love the formula. I think it's perfect. It has great coverage. It blends amazingly. The 2 main colors that I use the most and that I would for sure repurchase is N60, which is the darkest one, and I do use this one as a subtle contour, and then N40, which is way lighter, and I do use it for either concealer or foundation. I have no cons when it comes to this concealer, so there's really nothing I can say bad about them. Okay, so those were the cuties. That's what I call them, the cuties. Last but not least, I have a concealer that I recently got not so long ago. I also featured it in a video, but this one is from the Organic Skin Co. Out of all of them, I think this is the most organic and most natural. And this one does come in a little pot like this. If you want to avoid plastic, you can just get the actual pan. They sell them in pans or in this little container. So I didn't buy this. This was sent to me. But if I was to buy this, I would avoid the plastic and just get the pan and just put it in a Z palette or something like that. It has 23.3 organic ingredients and it's 100% natural. In the color Caramel, I'm going to swatch it right here so you guys can see it. But it is very pigmented. It's also very creamy. It feels really nice on the skin. It's very similar to the Cover FX Cover Clicks because they're both like a solid cream. As an under eye concealer, it works really, really great. It does crease because it is a creamy product, but it doesn't crease like so much that I just don't like it. I mean, I can deal with it. It performs really nicely. It lasts a long time on the skin. I have used this as a like spot concealer to cover up any blemishes, and it works really great for that. It covers the redness. I know we all have different preferences when it comes to concealers based on our skin type and our skin tone, but I do prefer a concealer that's a little more hydrating, a little more moisturizing, and that has more of a satin finish or like a skin-like finish or like a dewy finish, because I'd rather look a little shiny than look really dry, because I realized that when I do use a concealer that's more matte or a little more drying, it really just emphasizes all of my fine lines and wrinkles, and that just makes me look a little more older. And that's obviously my preference and my own opinions, but it just depends on what you like. If you're still here watching this video, thank you so much. And if you're wondering which one is my absolute favorite, which are the ones that I would recommend that I'm always going to be having in my collection because they're just amazing, is of course the Cover FX Power Play Concealer. These I cannot live without. And another Cover FX product is the Cover Clicks. As long as they make them, I'm going to keep buying them. My third favorite is the Organic Skin Co. Hide and Seek Concealer. As far as performance, the quality, and the fact that I love them so much, those are my top 3 favorites that I always want to have in my collection. The fourth one I want to mention that I would buy again is the Pacifica concealer, because I have been really enjoying it as a foundation and just to like spot correct. Out of all of my concealers, this is the most affordable one. Before I end this video, I also want to show you guys all of these swatches so you guys can see what they look like after they've been sitting on my hand. As you can see, some of them have dried down and look a little matte. Others are still a little more, you know, creamy and dewy, and some are like in between. So this one over here is the Hon Cosmetics concealer. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a very thin product. It really does travel. I don't know if you guys can see it through the fine lines on my hands, but it really did travel on into like, you know, other lines, and it doesn't set, it just stays like that unless I set it. But even if I set it, it still creases a lot. So that is why I don't like it. And as you can see, it's also super shiny. This one over here is the one that's the driest out of all of them, and this is the Clove and Hollow. And as you can see, this undertone is just not working for my skin tone either. That is exactly what I was talking about, how it dries down and it really emphasizes all of my lines as it dries down more into like a matte, you know, finish, and it really emphasizes all of my little lines. It kind of just makes it look very dry. That is the reason why I don't like it, besides the fact that it's not the right color. Alright, my honey bunnies, I hope you guys enjoyed this concealer video. If you guys did, please give it a huge thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below which one is your favorite and why you love it so much. Like always, don't forget to subscribe if you guys have not done so. Turn on your post notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.